he is in actuality only one part of a four-pronged Harrisburg offense that also includes the league's leading rusher, Kenny Watson, who has already run through opposing defenses for 1,008 yards on only 118 carries, an average of nearly 9 yards a carry. The leading pass receiver, Kyle Pitts, who has already hauled in 27 balls to share the lead with McDevitt's Rakai Nelson, and a kick return combination of Watson and Sherrod Wallace, who have each run back a kick for a touchdown and almost always give Harrisburg excellent field position with their long returns. For Bishop McDevitt, meanwhile, this year's McDevitt offense has taken a slightly different tack, as Air McDevitt, while still flying high, has had to share some of the offensive highlights with the McDevitt infantry that, paced by tailback Tommy Mealy, has actually outgained the Air Force by 50 yards a game. And don't overlook the often overlooked McDevitt defense, led by defensive tackles Corey Deibler and Steve Spoljaric, a pair of 260-pounders who have limited opponents to only 63 points all season and only 24 points over the last 4 games. Last year, the defenses stole the spotlight from the offenses, and McDevitt needed a fourth-quarter field goal by Mike Thornton to prevail 10-7. This year, the outcome could very well be decided by the health of Wadley. If Wadley cannot play, his place will be taken by sophomore Kareem Cunningham. And although Cunningham played well last week, completing 6 of 9 for 162 yards and 3 touchdowns, Central Dauphin did not have Deibler and Spoljaric on its defensive line. If Wadley can play, Harrisburg could win. If not, McDevitt should remain undefeated by a 27-21 score. Well, that's the way I see it. It is a cloudy, overcast, windy, breezy, damp morning. We had heavy rain earlier this morning, but the rain has stopped now, and the field appears to be in fairly good shape. It is muddy, no doubt about it, but the puddles that were all over it earlier this morning are gone, but the forecast is for heavy rain moving back in here. The Harrisburg Cougars about ready to come out on the far side of the field. The big question with Harrisburg today is, what is the status of Quincy Wadley, the star quarterback? Wadley was out warming up with the team before the game. He is scheduled to start. But whether or not he'll be able to go the whole way, that's anybody's guess. And here come the Cougars. Harrisburg under first-year head coach Mike Elby, 5-1 overall, and 4-1 in Mid-Penn 1. 56-6 winners over Central Dauphin last week. The Cougars will start at center, number 51, Brian Weatherly, a 6'1", 210-pound senior, and here comes McDevitt. The guards for Harrisburg, 62, Ian Jenkins, 5'10", 220-pound senior, and 72, Greg Davis, 6'4", 255-pound junior. The tackles at 71, Jamie Harvey, 6', 150-pound senior, and 77, Kyle Hopkins, 6', 220-pound senior. The tight end, number 89, Armand Waters, 6'3", 190-pound junior. At split end, number 7, Kyle Pitts, 6'3", 175-pound junior. The quarterback, number 16, Quincy Wadley, a transfer from Bishop McDevitt to Harrisburg. Wadley, a 6'3", 185-pound senior. At fullback, number 22, Marcus Harvey, 6', 208-pound senior. At halfback, number 32, Kenny Watson, 6', 190-pound senior. And the flanker, number 83, Mark Lester, a 6'1", 190-pound sophomore. For Bishop McDevitt, of course, their head coach, Ford Chapman, he's in his 5th year here. He'll start number 51, Joe True, a 6', 220-pound senior at center. At guard, 76, Corey Deibler, 6'3", 260-pound senior, and 78, Steve Spoljaric, 6'2", 260-pound junior. The tackles, 74, Todd Rombach, 6'3", 260-pound senior, and 75, Rocco Cangelosi, 6'3", 280-pound senior. And let's see if we can pick up the toss of the coin here before we complete the starting lineup. Harrisburg has won the toss, and Harrisburg will take the football. The tight end for Bishop McDevitt today, Khalil Nash, number 87, a 6'4", 250-pound junior, will be starting in place of injured Drew Painter, but Painter should see time. At split end, number 7, Dave McKenzie, a 6'4", 170-pound senior. The quarterback, number 5, Jordan Scott, 5'9", 180-pound senior. The fullback, number 30, Kevin Mitchell, 5'10", 165-pound junior. The tailback, number 22, Tommy Mealy, a 5'9", 175-pound senior. And the flanker, number 9, Rakai Nelson, a 6'1", 180-pound senior. Harrisburg has 2 return men that are potential game breakers. Sherrod Wallace, number 30, and of course, Kenny Watson. Both of them have returned one kick for a touchdown already this year, and they've had some very long returns that, although they have not gone for a score, have taken them deep into the opponent's territory. Be interesting to see if McDevitt on the opening kickoff will kick it deep and risk the long return, or if perhaps the Crusaders will squib it or maybe even kick it out of bounds. If you kick it out of bounds in high school football, the other team gets the ball at their own 35-yard line. You might be better off to just give Harrisburg the 35, concede that, and not risk the return. The officials today, the referee Jack Muscalis, the umpire Chuck Cartwright. The linesman is Dave Haller, and the line judge Jimmy Williamson, and the back judge Larry Hahn. Bill Siebert teeing it up, will kick it off for the McDevitt Crusaders. McDevitt in the blue shirts, gold pants, and Harrisburg in the white shirts and the black pants. Standing room crowd on hand despite the rain, but I'm sure that if it had not rained, we'd have even more jammed into this place. Siebert signals he's ready and does squib the kickoff. And Harrisburg manages to fall on it and cover it as Mark Strawbridge covers it up at about the 35 or 36-yard line. So as we suspected, McDevitt did not give them a chance to return it. And Harrisburg will start 1st and 10 from its own 36. And Wadley has come out at quarterback. They split Lester to the near side. I formation with Harvey and Watson in the backfield. And the give on the first play is to Watson. And Watson, trying to dance through the line, can get only about a yard or so. Kenny Watson picks up a yard. Don Painter there to make the stop defensively for Bishop McDevitt. McDevitt defensively has Larry Johnson and Don Painter defensive ends, Corey Dibler, Steve Spoljark the defensive tackles. The linebackers Todd Mealy, Kenny Borelli, and Mike Eisman. The corners Jordan Scott and Chance Carter. And the safeties Rakai Nelson and Scott Updike. 2nd and 9. Watson gets the toss again. And Watson, managing to squirm through the left side, is out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. So the pickup this time 5 yards for Watson, and it'll be a 3rd and 4. Kyle Pitts and Sherrod Wallace checking into the Harrisburg lineup. They'll split Pitts and Lester to the left. And Wallace goes out to the right. Single setback is Watson on 3rd and 4. And Watley's first pass of the game being chased by Dibler, gets the pass away, and the pass incomplete was intended for the tight end Armand Walters. So the Harrisburg Cougars come up empty on their first drive of the game. And Harrisburg will have to punt it away. Rakai Nelson will go deep for McDevitt to await the punt from Sean Earl. Rushes on, and McDevitt almost got there. This is Nelson fielding it at the 20. And Nelson, with a nice return, gets out to the 30-yard line. McDevitt very nearly got there to block that punt. And there is a penalty marker down back at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a procedure call against Harrisburg. Now, will McDevitt make him punt it again, or will they take the football? Ford Chapman is pointing, send him back, make him kick it again. A lot of coaches would be content to just take the football, especially a wet football, rather than risk a re-kick and a chance of fumbling the return. But Ford Chapman's going to roll the dice here, and he's going to make him kick it again. He's got Rakai Nelson, a guy who can explode on kick returns, and they came very, very close to blocking that last one. I'll move it back to the 37-yard line. And Harrisburg will punt again. Earl awaiting the snap at his own 22. Rushes on again, gets this one off a low line drive. Hits in front of Nelson. He's going to let this one roll dead at the 29. So McDevitt actually lost a yard by electing to take the punt. And the Crusaders, instead of starting at their own 30, will be starting at their own 29-yard line. Harrisburg on defense has Jason Rawls and Armand Walters, the defensive ends. Eric Orsinger, John Sanks are the defensive tackles. John Doyle, the nose guard. The linebackers, Marcus Harvey, Mark Strawbridge, and Leon Wilkerson. Corners are Chris O'Bannon and Sherrod Wallace, and the safety is Taraji Davis. McDevitt sends wideouts to both sides. Mealy the single setback. And Jordan Scott rolling and looking on the first play of the game. And the pass almost intercepted. Was intended for Drew Painter and broken up by Buster Elam. Buster Elam, who had been out of the lineup injured for several games, is making the start today, so that's a bit of a surprise. And Buster managed to break up the pass, which was intended for Painter, who was not expected to start on offense, but did. 2nd and 10 for the Crusaders. Nelson splits to the left, Painter to the right. And Mealy with his first carry of the ball game, and Mealy is stuck right at the line of scrimmage by Doyle. John Doyle, boy, he played a great game when we had Harrisburg a couple weeks ago against Cumberland Valley. Doyle, a 5'11", 190-pound senior in the nose tackle. Getting over quickly to make the stop. A pickup of a yard on the play for Mealy, so it'll be 3rd and 9 for McDevitt. And the early indications are that this game could turn out to be a defensive game, as last year's was. Nelson splits to the left, McKenzie to the right. Single setback this time is Spencer Waters. And the draw to Waters. And Waters has the first down out to the 40-yard line. Spencer Waters on the draw picks up the first down of the ball game. Spencer Waters, 5'7", 160-pound junior, an explosive running back. Ran the drop perfectly that time, and McDevitt has the ball 1st and 10 at their own 40. Mealy comes back in a tailback for McDevitt. And Tommy Mealy, looking over the right side, gets a yard or so. Elijah Long making the stop defensively for Harrisburg. Give him a pickup of 1 on the play. He'll bring up a 2nd and 9 for McDevitt. Sky starting to darken up again here at McDevitt, and it looks like it could start raining at any moment. They split Nelson to the right. That's Rakai going in motion to the far side now. Mealy. And Mealy picks up a yard at most. So the running on the inside for McDevitt proving to be very difficult so far. And McDevitt will have a 3rd and 8. Breeze today is blowing across the field from the press box side towards the visitor side across the way. McKenzie and Nelson split out there to the left. And they run the draw again, this time with Mealy, and Mealy's got a first down across the 50-yard line. Dragged down from behind by Kenny Watson, but not before a pickup of 11 yards on the play. So for the 2nd time, McDevitt with a 3rd and long runs the draw, and for the 2nd time they pick up the first down on it. Keeps the drive alive down to the 45-yard line of Harrisburg. Harrisburg was forced to punt its first possession. This is the opening drive for McDevitt. Harrisburg jumped off sides. Doyle came across, and it draws the flag. Already the second penalty against Harrisburg. When we saw them a couple weeks ago against Cumberland Valley, they were penalized 10 times, and I believe 7 or 8 of the 10 were for the same thing, jumping offside. And you can't do that, especially on a first down, because now McDevitt a 1st and 5 to work with, and it's so much easier when you've got that 1st and 5 instead of a 1st and 10. McKenzie splits to the right, Nelson to the left. Scott under pressure, and Scott is going to be sacked. Jason Rawls getting in from his defensive end position, sacks him back at the 49. Big defensive play for Harrisburg. So the lost 9 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 14 for the Crusaders. Again, Nelson goes to the left. McKenzie to the right. Mealy the single setback behind Jordan Scott. Short drop looking for Nelson on the slant, and the ball incomplete. Thrown just a little too high. And through the hands of Rakai Nelson. Covered on the play for Harrisburg by Chris O'Bannon. So Jordan Scott now 0 for 2 throwing the football. And he'll be faced with a 3rd and let's call it 14. Brian Rahasek checking into the McDevitt lineup. McDevitt, as you see, not in a huddle. They do not use a huddle. Chapman sends in the plays, wig-wagging him from the sideline. 9th play of the offensive drive for McDevitt. They split 2 wides to the left, 1 to the right. No running backs behind Scott, and he airs it out for Rakai Nelson, and the ball just too long, but there is a marker down. Chris O'Bannon was back on the coverage, and there is a marker down, and it's going to be interference against Harrisburg. Ball just out of the reach of Rakai, but he was impeded on his way to it, and it's going to be pass interference against the Cougars. So they will step off 15 yards against Harrisburg, and that will keep the McDevitt drive alive. 1st down, McDevitt. Moves the ball to the 34-yard line. The 3rd 1st down for the Crusaders. Already 3 penalties for 25 yards against Harrisburg, and we've played only 6.5 minutes here in the 1st quarter. They send trips to the left, 2 wideouts to the right. 5 men in the pattern, nobody behind Jordan Scott. And Jordan Scott on the quarterback draw. Scott to the 25, Scott to the 20, Scott to the 15, and Scott out of bounds near the 10-yard line. They spread them out with the 5 wide receivers. The Harrisburg defense was spread, and Jordan Scott just took 1 step back and then took off and goes 24 yards for a 1st down to the 10-yard line. And the nose of the football is just across the 10, so it is 1st and goal for McDevitt. Nelson splits to the right. Mealy the setback. Mealy gets the call. Mealy's got the 5. Mealy breaks a tackle. And Mealy down close to the 3-yard line. Good hard running by Tommy Mealy. Broke a tackle near the 5 or 6 yard line and managed to get an extra 2 or 3 out of it. They're going to put it at, let's call it the 2. It'll be 3rd and goal, or 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line for McDevitt. Again, they split Nelson to the right. Painter out there on the wing. Mealy gets the call, and Mealy is into the end zone for the touchdown. Tom Mealy, 2 yards on the run for the touchdown, and McDevitt has scored first. An impressive opening drive by the Bishop McDevitt Crusaders. 11 plays, and they took almost 6 minutes off the clock. And that's what you got to do against Harrisburg's offense. Keep it out of their hands. Scott to hold. Bill Siebert will attempt the extra point. And the kick is no good, wide to the left. 4:40 remaining to play in the first quarter. McDevitt has scored first. It's 6-0 in favor of the Crusaders. Today's game is being brought to you in part by Don Fury Construction. Don Fury Construction. Don Fury, a longtime supporter of the Bishop McDevitt Crusaders and high school sports in general here in the Harrisburg area. Any home improvements you need, Don Fury is the place to get them. Call Don Fury Construction for all of your home improvement needs. "11 plays, 5 minutes and 24 seconds. The Crusaders going 71 yards. But a missed extra point. That could come back to haunt them. It's kind of strange because they lined up on the left hash mark instead of in the center of the field, probably because of the mud in the center of the field. And that mud may have been the deciding factor in missing that extra point wide to the left. So already the elements coming into play. Siebert to kick off. He squibbed his first one. Would not look for him to kick it deep this time. He'll squib this one also. And falling on it at the 31-yard line was Kevin Rollins. So again, Harrisburg will start in its own territory, this time at the 31. They started their last drive at their own 36. McDevitt 5 first downs on that drive. Harrisburg still looking for its first down. They'll send Kyle Pitts out as a flanker to the right, along with Mark Lester. They fake the draw to Watson, and Wadley's pass complete to Pitts out near midfield, and Pitts finally taken out of bounds by Jordan Scott in McDevitt territory at the 47. So Quincy Wadley's first completion of the game. Good for 21 yards. And Harrisburg has its first down. Wadley, good protection. Looking for Pitts again, and this time Kyle Pitts unable to make the catch. Was covered on the play by Rakai Nelson. So Wadley 1 for 3 throwing the football so far. Again, he sends Pitts and Lester to the left. Keeps Watson back in behind him. And the toss to Watson. And Watson trying to get around the right side, and Jordan Scott comes up and makes the tackle after a gain of only a yard or so. They'll give him forward progress to the 44. Let's call it a gain of 2. Watson 3 carries so far for a total of 8 yards. But at any time, he can break one all the way. Clock running down to 3:30 remaining to play in the first quarter. McDevitt leads it 6-0. They split Pitts to the left. Chance Carter with coverage on him. Watson, and Watson knifing over the left side, does not find much running room at all. Good defensive play by Steve Spoljarek. Came up to make the hit after a short gain of 2 or 3. So it'll be 4th down for Harrisburg. 5 yards to go, and the ball in McDevitt territory at the 43-yard line. Will they go for it? It looks like Harrisburg is going to go for it on 4th and 5. They send 2 wideouts to the right, 1 to the left. Watson's lined up 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They pitch it back to him, and he'll quick kick it. And it gets a good Harrisburg roll, and it's going to go dead down at the 6-yard line. Now Harrisburg lined up Kenny Watson 10 yards behind Wadley, and Wadley just pitched it back to him, and Watson with the quick kick, and it rolled down to the 6-yard line. So McDevitt will start from deep in the hole at its own 6. Breeze picking up here now and is blowing into the face of the Crusaders. They split McKenzie to the left, Nelson to the right. And a penalty marker down is looking for Nelson, and Rakai can't get there, but there is a flag down back near the line of scrimmage. Jimmy Williamson threw the penalty marker, and he's pointing at McDevitt, and it's going to be procedure against McDevitt. So the first penalty of the game will cost them half the distance, and we'll move it back to the 3-yard line. Brian Funk checking into the McDevitt lineup. Dave McKenzie will come out. Harrisburg's going to decline the penalty. So Harrisburg will decline the penalty. Since the penalty would have only been 3 yards, they'd rather take the down on the incomplete pass. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Scott changing play at the line of scrimmage. Gives it to Mealy. And Mealy straight ahead into the line. Gets out to about the 8. And we got a Harrisburg player shaken up. So timeout on the field to tend to the injured player. 1:45 remaining to play in the first quarter. McDevitt up 6-0. Today's game also being brought to you in part by Central Penn Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy over on Poplar Church Road behind the Holy Spirit Hospital. If your doctor tells you that you need physical therapy for any injury whatsoever, for surgery, whatever, Central Penn Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine is the place to go. I know it. I went there myself last year for several months with a back that many people said was never going to feel any better. And the fine folks over there at Central Penn, no problems with that back anymore. So Central Penn Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine, your place to go for any physical therapy that you might need. Tell your doctor that's where to send them. 3rd and 7 for McDevitt. McDevitt is 3 for 3 on 3rd down conversion so far. They split Nelson to the right. High formation behind Scott. And Harrisburg comes offside. Armand Walters jumping too soon from his defensive end position